Hey guys, welcome back to BCMN Bracketology. Today we're going to be going over Andy Katz's newest picks for his bracket. We are so sorry we haven't been able to post recently. We were in contact with people with COVID, so we were kind of stressing out and had to wait a little bit before getting this video out to you guys. Thank you guys so much for those who've liked and subscribed and commented on our most recent videos. If you like our content, please consider dropping a sub or even a like or a comment or even a suggestion. So we're just going to dive straight into the bracket. So going in the top left, we've got the Zags winning this one. That's pretty straightforward.
Next, we got Tennessee, San Diego State. Tennessee has lost 2 out of 3 last games against non-ranked opponents. They look really bad. San Diego State just beat Boise State twice. Boise State's a solid team, so we're going to go San Diego State, definitely.
So now we got USC versus Seton Hall or Drake. I don't really see Seton Hall winning that game, the playing game. I see Drake winning it. Seton Hall just lost a game. USC, on the other hand, has been terrible recently. I think by March they'll in a couple weeks, actually, it is March, they'll be able to pick things up. But as of right now, I like Drake in that position.
Yeah. Next, we got Oklahoma Belmont. Even though Oklahoma did just lose twice to Oklahoma State, we're really high in Oklahoma State, so we're not taking anything against that. Belmont has lost, I think, 2 of the last 3 conference games. They look really bad recently, and we're going to take Oklahoma.
So now we got Colorado, Boise State, or Michigan State. Boise State, I don't see winning that game. Michigan State's been a scary team. They're beating the good teams, losing to some of the bad. I think Michigan State, although Colorado has been playing pretty good and they're kind of underlooked this year, I think Michigan State's one of those upset teams.
Yeah. Next, we got FSU. Even though they just lose to North Carolina, right now they are currently winning against Boston College. They're, destroying them. But Eastern Washington is just not good enough. But shout out to them for moving up in the rankings. They were 15 seed last time, but we're taking FSU.
So now I got UCLA versus Louisville. Louisville was much higher a couple weeks ago. They were like a 7 or 8 seed. They're coming off a couple losses. They've just kind of been middle of the road this year. They haven't really done much special. So I'm going to go UCLA here.
Next, we got Iowa, South Dakota State. Iowa's looked amazing recently. They looked real. Besides that Michigan game, they've looked really good.
Yeah, now we got Illinois versus a playing game. Illinois is going to win. They just came off of an incredible game without Io against Michigan.
Next, we got BYU, Loyola Chicago. Both these teams have been playing really good. Loyola Chicago hasn't really lost a game since Drake. BYU, I don't remember the last time they lost a game. Maybe it was to Gonzaga a couple weeks ago. Both teams I could see winning this game. I can see Loyola Chicago winning this game because of experience, but BYU has looked like a better team so far, so we're going to choose them.
So next we got Wichita State, Creighton. Creighton's one of those teams we loved a couple weeks ago, kind of slowing things down come to the end of the season. They lost one, and then they just lost to Villanova. Wichita State, on the other hand, they've been pretty hot since that win against since a couple games back. They're on a 6-game win streak now. They beat Houston. They were on a month break. There were some concerns of what would happen because they took such a long absence, but they came back, proved that they were still having it, and I think Wichita State will pull this upset, especially because of their 3-point shooting.
Yeah. Next, we got Texas Tech, Uncg. Even though Texas Tech lost 2 of the last 4, they lost to Kansas and Oklahoma State, who both have been on fire recently, so I'm not going to take anything against them again. Then they beat Texas after coming off 2 losses, which is really good. Texas has been a good team this year. And Uncg does not have that team to beat a team like Texas Tech and Mac McClung. You're not going to stop him in March Madness. So we're going to choose Texas Tech.
So now I got Maryland, Georgia Tech. Love Maryland this year. We've been high on them a couple weeks ago. I love that they're finally getting recognition and they moved to a 6 seed, so we're going to put them.
Yeah. Next we got Kansas Liberty. Liberty's one of those teams I could see upsetting, but not a team like Kansas that is hot right now. They're coming off a win from Baylor. They looked really good there. They also beat Texas Tech last week or a couple of weeks ago. They look really good. They look scary, and we're going to take Kansas.
Yeah, now we got Virginia Tech, Yukon. I love Yukon. I've been watching them a lot recently because I love Book Knight and the other guards. I think they have really guard stacked heavy, and I think they're going to be able to win that game against Virginia Tech.
Next, we got Alabama, Siena. There's nothing to say. Alabama's going to easily win this game.
Yeah, so now we got the Zags versus San Diego State. Last year, this is a different story, and it's probably a more in-depth game. This year, it's the Zags easily.
Next, we got Drake, Oklahoma. Well, Drake he's coming off 2 wins, beating Seton Hall and USC. Oklahoma is just too much. Oklahoma has looked good recently, even though they lost a couple, but Drake does not have enough to beat them.
So now we got FSU versus, we're assuming, Michigan State. Michigan State, they've been incredible recently. A couple weeks ago, where Florida State was on fire, I would have said easily Florida State. Michigan State hasn't done anything. Michigan State just came off of 2 great wins. Well, they lost a recent one, but they came off 2 great wins. Florida State, on the other hand, lost to North Carolina, so I could see Michigan State making a run here and winning this game.
Yeah. Next, we got UCLA versus Iowa. UCLA has looked pretty good recently. They won 3 of their last 4, and their only loss was Colorado, who is playing really good. Iowa has been looking really nice. Not going to lie. They're kind of scary. I could see them going really far in the tournament. They just beat Ohio State. They lost to Michigan, but then they beat Wisconsin, Penn State. They've been winning a lot. They've been looking really good. They're starting to heat up. It's come March, and it is March. They're going to do some damage.
So now we got Illinois, BYU. Illinois, that game against Michigan, incredible. Without Io, you've got players like Frazier and other guys who are really starting to step up into a role that they need to be with Io out. And when Io's back, if they can still stay in those roles, it's going to be a scary team. Illinois.
Next, we got Wichita State, Texas Tech. This is kind of tough because Wichita State has been really good recently, even with their pause based on the other teams having COVID. They've still come back and showed that they're still that team, the best in the American. Texas Tech has also proved themselves, though. They've looked really good recently. I'd say if Wichita State gets hot, they could definitely win this game, but we're going to choose Texas Tech based on star player.
Yeah. So now we got Maryland, Kansas. Love this matchup. I love Maryland as a 6 seed. I think Maryland is a scary team, and they could be a bunch of those 3 seeds, especially Kansas, who's prone to having kind of a shaky season against those top teams. Kansas either wins against Baylor or they lose against not the greatest of teams. I think Maryland's going to be able to win this game as of how they're playing now, and most likely in March, actually. Maryland's been one of the hottest teams in the country, and I've been really high on them for the past few weeks.
Yeah, Maryland has looked very scary recently. All right, next we got Uconn, Alabama. I think this is exactly the opposite of the last matchup in Maryland, Kansas. I think this is going to be a blowout win with Alabama easily beating them.
Yeah, so now we go to the top of the bracket. We can see the Zags, Oklahoma. Oklahoma, they did a good showing against Oklahoma State both games. Even though they lost, the Zags, until they prove themselves not worthy, they're going to keep winning.
Yeah. Next, we got Msu Iowa. Honestly, I could see MSU winning this game. They've looked really good against top teams, but they also have looked average. Like, they didn't look the best against Indiana, but they still won that game. They finished that game. They lost to Maryland, but Maryland has been really good, and they beat Illinois and Ohio State. I can see this going either way, honestly. If MSU starts to heat up even more, they can definitely win this game. But right now, Iowa's playing better, and they're going to win this game.
Yeah, so now we got Illinois, Texas Tech. I think Matt McClung is going to have a monster game in this one. I still don't think they're going to be able to outboard the actual size of Illinois. I think Illinois is just such a big team. And in the second half, they just keep pounding away at you, and they're going to win this game.
Yeah. All right, next we got Maryland, Alabama. I think this will be a great matchup. Definitely a great game. Both teams have been playing really good recently. Alabama's still a top 16 at the moment, probably, even though they did lose to Arkansas. But Arkansas, we'll get to that later. Maryland has won, I think, the last 6 games or something. They look really scary. We're going to choose them, definitely.
Yeah, I love Alabama this year, and I could see them in a different situation. I feel like they got really unlucky in this bracket, but if they were in a different situation, they could make a Final Four run. Zags, Iowa, same matchup, same matchup we keep having in our other bracketology videos, and every time we keep saying the Zags until they prove themselves otherwise. The Zags just are better than are a better team and more complete than Iowa. Iowa's more focused around Garza, while Zags is able to be focused around Suggs, Kispert, and Time, and it's perfectly aligned with their bench.
Next, we got Illinois, Maryland. It's a great Big Ten matchup in the Elite Eight. I'd say, well, the first matchup they played, Maryland beat Illinois. I'd say before the Illinois-Michigan game, I would have definitely chosen Maryland. They looked better. They've been playing better. But since the Michigan domination by Illinois without Io, I'm definitely taking Illinois going to the Final Four.
So off the bat, we have 2 1 seeds in the Final Four. Do not worry, it gets a little more interesting on the right side. So first game, Michigan, that's a clear win.
You said it was going to get interesting.
Oh, just wait.
All right, next we got Florida, Oregon. This is my favorite 8-9. Even though Florida did lose today, they lost to a good team. I think they lost to FSU or something, maybe West Virginia. Not positive about that. But both teams have looked good. Oregon, I think they beat Colorado and USC. They look good. I think we're going to take Oregon.
Yeah, so now I got Texas, Toledo. I'm not a big fan of Toledo this year. I'm going to take Texas.
Next, we got Arkansas, UCSB. This is going to be a blowout. Arkansas looked so good recently.
Yeah, so now we got Wisconsin, St. Bonaventure. Wisconsin's a better team as of right now. St. Bonaventure, they could be an upset team. We don't really know much about them just because they haven't really played great teams.
Actually, can I interrupt this one?
Go for it.
Okay, hear me out. Wisconsin just lost to Illinois, which makes sense, and just lost to Purdue last night. St. Bonaventure, I think they've won the last 6 games or something. I can see either team winning this game. Just watch out for St. Bonaventure.
I could see it. I don't think we've seen enough of St. Bonaventure this year for them to actually win, for us to be able to definitely say an upset here. So I'm just not going to, but I think Wisconsin will still win.
Yeah. Okay. Next we got Houston, Navy, Houston. I'm not going to go into that yet. You'll see.
Yeah. Now we got Virginia, LSU. I like Virginia this year. I think they're kind of underseeded, especially considering how experienced they are this year. So I think Virginia will win that one.
Yeah. Okay, going back to that St. Bonaventure, they just lost to Dayton, so I changed my mind.
Okay.
We got West Virginia, Grand Canyon. West Virginia is going to smoke them, even though they just lost to Baylor. That was a really tough game. Both teams looked amazing.
Yeah. Then we got Baylor winning.
Yeah. Then we got Rutgers, Xavier. I know there are some Rutgers fans out there. You guys just lost to Nebraska by 21. That's embarrassing. Xavier.
Now we got Oklahoma State, Western Kentucky. Oklahoma State is disrespected as a 5 seed, with Oklahoma being a 4 seed. Oklahoma State is going to kill them.
Yeah. Next we got Purdue, Winthrop. Purdue is one of probably my favorite 5 seed. They've looked really good. We have said earlier that they have not been that good, but we re-looked at the schedule, we looked at the stats and all the games. They look really good. They're going to easily beat Winthrop.
So now we got Clemson, VCU. Clemson lost today, and VCU has been playing. They've been playing average. They've been moving down slightly, but Clemson I don't think was ever a great 4 seed, and they've just kind of been becoming worse and worse as March approaches. So I'm going to put VCU.
I think VCU gets really lucky with this matchup. I don't think they'd beat any other 6 seed.
Yeah.
Maybe Wisconsin, but I don't think so. And yeah. All right, next we got Villanova, Abilene Christian. Villanova, even though they lost to Butler, they just beat Creighton, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they just beat Creighton, and they look pretty good, so we're still going to take them easily.
Yeah, Missouri, UNC. Missouri's, again, one of those teams that kind of has been unraveling recently. UNC, on the other hand, they've been kind of surprising. Did not expect them to be here in the tournament. They've had to come off a couple good wins, and I think UNC is going to actually be, with their coaching experience and just their experience in general, I think they'll win this game.
Yeah. All right, next we got Ohio State, Umbc. Once again, a couple years ago, might be a different story, but not even close this year. Ohio State's going to definitely win.
Yeah, so now Michigan, Oregon, Michigan, easily.
Yeah. Next we got Texas, Arkansas. Texas is a very solid team. They look pretty good this year. They've had good wins. They've had some bad losses. But Arkansas is the hottest team in the country still. They're going to win this game.
Yeah, now we got Wisconsin versus Houston. Houston is so big right now. After that loss against Wichita State, which I've explained in previous videos why it was not their fault. Basically, they arrived at the stadium 30 minutes before the game. They hadn't been able to practice for a week because of all the snow in Houston, and they weren't able to practice or warm up even, so they got only lost by 5. Houston's going to kill them. They've been playing angry basketball recently.
Yeah. Next, we got West Virginia. I'd say West Virginia has looked really good, even though they just lost, which we just talked about. They have looked really good. There's nothing that much else to say. I think West Virginia is going to win by 10, maybe 15.
Yeah. So now we got Baylor Xavier. Baylor, after that win against West Virginia, kind of redeemed themselves, so I'm going to put them here.
Yeah. Next, we got Oklahoma State Purdue. I think this is my favorite 4-5 matchup. Both teams are kind of dark horses. Both teams have really good players. Purdue has surprised us definitely. We're not that surprised with Oklahoma State because of Cade, and their team has been so good recently. We still think Oklahoma State's going to win by 8 to 10 points, though.
Yeah, I hate that matchup because Purdue is a very solid 4 seed that I could see upsetting a 1 seed even. But Oklahoma State, I think, is just completely disrespected, as we said before in this video. I think as of right now, they're playing as a 3 seed level, maybe even 2 seed if they can pull off even more better wins. So next we got Vcu Villanova. Villanova, honestly, a lucky matchup. I don't think VCU's got the talent to beat them. I wish we could pick an upset here. I could see a bunch of lower seeds beating them. I could see teams like Wichita State. I could see Drake. I could see Michigan State beating them. Even maybe St. Bonaventure. I don't like choosing Villanova, but I have to.
Yeah. Next, we got UNC Ohio State. I'd say we're going to choose Ohio State. Even though they're on a 3-game lose streak, they've lost to really good teams. UNC just lost to Syracuse 2 days ago, and so we're going to choose Ohio State.
Yeah. Now we move up. We got Michigan, Arkansas. I love this matchup. Michigan has been on fire except for that game against Illinois. Arkansas has been on fire except for no games. They have been just purely on fire. As a 4 seed right now, I don't know how that's even possible. They should be a 3 or a 2 seed in this bracket. Arkansas, I think they could pull this upset based on how they've been playing recently. Arkansas, other than Gonzaga, is the hottest team in the nation. They have been playing incredible basketball, and they're one hard team to out-rebound and just stop in general.
Yeah. Next, we got Houston, West Virginia. This is my favorite region. These Final Four have all been so good. Houston has this, dent in their minds. They're not going to forget about that Wichita State loss. They're going to be fired up. But I don't think they have enough speed and talent to beat West Virginia. They have looked really good recently. I would be surprised if Houston wins this game. I wouldn't be surprised if Houston wins this game, though. But West Virginia's going to win.
Yeah, Western Virginia's kind of got that transition offense, while Houston's got that size advantage. So it's an interesting one. It's speed versus size. So our next game, we got Baylor, Oklahoma State. Love how Baylor's been playing, but I love even more how Oklahoma State's been playing. Oklahoma State, we've said, even before those 2 wins against Oklahoma, they're going to be a scary team with Cade Cunningham. And then Cade Cunningham showed up and scored 40 points on Oklahoma. They were able to sweep them, which was, I think it just proved their cause that they're a contender this year, and they can beat those elite teams. Earlier in the season, they played Wichita State, and they beat them. I think they are one of the top 5 seed. I think they are the top 5 seed, and they're arguably one of their better 4 seeds if they were one. I think they're going to be able to pull this upset.
Yeah, just a little bit adding on. I think Oklahoma State has a chance to even be a 3 seed. I would not be surprised come March that they're going to win their conference and get a 3 or 2 seed. I would not be surprised. All right, next we got Villanova, Ohio State. I think Villanova has gotten really lucky so far, having easy matchups in Abilene Christian and VCU. Ohio State has not been that lucky. UNC has been very solid this year. I can see everyone winning. This is kind of a weaker 2-3 matchup, but I do see Ohio State still winning this game.
Yeah, now we got Arkansas, West Virginia, kind of two of those dark horse teams. Well, West Virginia isn't anymore, but a couple weeks ago we kept saying how we stressed them, and then they won a bunch, so they're kind of getting their respect now. Even that Baylor loss, I think it helped them in the long run. Arkansas, on the other hand, been the dark horse team. I think they are so underrated, even after all those wins, and even they're still getting some national attention. I think they should be considered a Final Four team in nearly every bracket.
And it's Oklahoma State, Iowa State. I don't think we can stress this enough. Oklahoma State and Cade Cunningham have looked so good this year. I don't see them losing this game. They have like not the easiest path to get there, but I think they're definitely going to get there. They're going to persevere. They know how to finish games. We saw that when they sweeped Oklahoma. We saw that when they beat Texas Tech in overtime. They have had so many games in overtime this year. They're going to win this game.
Yeah. Final Four time. We got Zags, Illinois, and then Arkansas, Oklahoma State. So Zags, Illinois, I love that game. I'm so curious to see how those teams match up against each other with Io, Kofi, Suggs. You've got Time and Kispert. I think that's going to be a phenomenal game to watch. I think Zags actually will be able to handle the size of Illinois quite well and their shooting ability. I think Illinois will be able to handle the Zags for most of it, but I think eventually the Zags' depth is just going to be Illinois. So I'm going to put the Zags there.
Yeah. Next, we got Arkansas, Oklahoma State. I think this is the time where Oklahoma State gets unlucky. I'd say I would put them over any team but Gonzaga and Arkansas. They've looked so good recently, but Arkansas they've been on fire. They beat Alabama. They haven't lost in like 8 games. They're really good. They're going to win this game, but it's going to be very close.
Yeah, so the next we got Zags versus Arkansas. I love this matchup again. Two of the hottest teams in the country. Arkansas is arguably more hot right now, but Zags, I would say, is a better team overall. If I were picking my own March Madness bracket, I would take Arkansas just for the sheer fact that less people are going to choose them. If we're being realistic on who we think will win, we're taking the Zags, and that's kind of self-explanatory. So we really like to thank you guys so much for watching and being patient. We obviously made this a longer video because we had to go more in depth, and we haven't really made a video in a while due to COVID reasons. But thank you so much. If you enjoyed, please consider subscribing. Drop a comment below what you think, what you agree with, what you disagree with, and goodbye.